Hello, welcome back, or welcome and hello if this is your first time here. I am continuing on with our Ayurvedic topic of digestion, and I just wanted to share some things as like a PS or addendums to my last post that was yesterday. So, in terms of the ginger tea, it's good to sip on ginger tea the entire time you're eating your meal, and also a little bit after you're done, because it helps the agni. It helps keep the stomach juices volume up, and that means better digestion, more efficient digestion. And the better the digestion, the less gas, and you won't feel logy after eating. And what I mean by that is, the sort of stereotypical Thanksgiving, scene where everyone is just so stuffed and full and feeling pretty nappy. Food is fuel, and it is meant to give us energy. So, taking a nap is never a bad idea, because sleep is extremely important. But I don't think just the very act of taking in fuel for your body, should be exhausting. It should be easy and delightful. Sounds good. I want to go back to the theme of appetizers. Eating something to stoke the agni about a half an hour before you're going to eat your meal. And here in America, the servings we are used to are just way too big. So if you order an appetizer, let's say at a restaurant, let's just say, your favorite chain restaurant, you order chips and salsa because you heard chips and salsa were a good thing to eat as an appetizer. And the typical, platter size of nachos, chips and cheese, chips and salsa could be, could feed like 5 people. So just consider that all you need is like 3 or 4 bites of something. And especially because chips and salsa is also salty. Less is more when it comes to salt. But yeah, you only need about 3 bites. If you're using pineapple to stoke the agni, or the mango, or the fruits like that, again, just a few bites. You don't have to eat the whole mango. Save some for after, maybe after dinner, or maybe tomorrow, or your next meal. So yeah, just keep an eye on portion sizing. And that is something that I need to pay attention to also. So this is a really good reminder. What I like about Ayurveda, that was told to me by one of my instructors, who was also a physician. Sorry about the wobble. He said, if you're like someone like me who has very strong pitta, he said, don't, when your pitta's really fired up and you're ready to, chew on a doorknob, he said that's the time to eat your dessert. So in Ayurveda, dare I say, eating dessert first is a practice you can be in. Or eat dessert by itself. If you're going to have dessert, and that it's, kind of a more of a challenge to digest a dessert, because there's probably sugar in it, and it might be a little processed. Who knows? But wait until you're really hungry, and then use that agni to just have dessert and nothing else with it except ginger tea, sipping on it. Dessert first. I've been totally using that my entire life. Dessert first, by itself, usually. I also wanted to mention emotions around food. Now, people eat for all kinds of different reasons, and the best reason being that your body needs fuel. And that really should be, and I hate the word should, it should be the only reason that we're eating is because we need fuel. But people eat for pleasure, entertainment. Please don't let food become your security blanket. Like, there's this stereotype of people getting emotionally upset, and then, here's the pint of ice cream. If you're going to eat a pint of ice cream, make sure it's the only thing you're eating, so that your agni has all of its potency to help you deal with that pint of ice cream. But I would say don't be upset when you're eating. And by upset, I mean angry, sad. Those are the two big ones, anger and sadness. If you tend to be depressed, then eat a little less than normal. If you're not going to be exercising, you can eat a little less. I, for one, am very aware of how much I eat, and I'm going to go back and remind us that living at a 6 is really helpful. 6 in terms of hunger and being full. So, that. 3 things that diminish agni, like squelch it: meat, dairy, and heavy oil. So heavy fat. And by heavy fat, I mean like animal fat. And also, I said dairy. In Ayurveda, goat milk is fine. I raised my son on goat milk instead of cow's milk. And it works just the same. And a lot of people who get exposed to goat milk prefer it over cow's milk. It just, it depends like how your palate has been trained. And a lot of us, especially in, a Western developed society, have infantilized palates, which means there's a limited way for them to appreciate. Just they have like limited taste. It comes down to like salty, sweet, and sour, and those are the only flavors that they can eat or appreciate. But flavors are all over the place in real food. There's bitter, astringent, pungent, salty, sweet, and umami. And I think I got them all. I think so. I feel like I could be missing one. But in any case, keep track of your emotions also when you're cooking. I feel like when I cook, I'm giving the best part of myself into the food. And cooking while you're upset, it might be therapeutic. I think cooking is one of my therapies for sure. But try not to serve other people your food if you're angry in particular. Ooh, I have this story about when I was in Ayurvedic school. Our instructors were Indian doctors, and we all went out to eat one night, and all the American students were sitting with all the instructors, and when the food came, all the Americans are like, rah, 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 tackling the food. And the Indian doctors just kind of sat there and contemplated. And someone said, excuse me, is there something wrong with the food? And one of the instructors said, yes, we think the cook is angry today, so we need different food. And that's a true story. And it was true that the cook was like going through a divorce or something like that made him very grouchy. And it was felt by the people interacting with his food. I mean, it can be really interesting, all this stuff. So I wanted to go through very quickly foods to avoid. Now, these are incomplete lists for Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. It's easy. You might not even interact with these foods at all already, so the list is incomplete, but it is a starting point. So foods to avoid for Vata, and that's an air dosha. Dried fruit. The Vatas need to stay away from things that are dry or dehydrated. Raw spinach, white potatoes, mushrooms, hot peppers, radishes, cabbage, and eggplant. Raw kale, barley, couscous, millet, dry oats, frozen yogurt, soybeans, and other types of beans, popcorn, meat, horseradish, sugar, and cayenne. Like I said, that's a short list. It's more of a starting point to reference. So, foods to avoid if you're Pitta, and that is the damp heat constitution. Pitta is to avoid sour fruit like apples. You can eat apples, but just don't get the Granny Smith kind. Lemons avoid, eggplant, garlic, green chilies, horseradish, green olives, corn and polenta, rye bread, millet, soy products and soy sauce, buttermilk, sour cream, nuts and seeds, seafood, salty fish, sesame oil, and white sugar. Again, incomplete, and you might not, have a difference in your lifestyle just based on these, which is totally fine. Foods to avoid if you're Kapha. Bananas, cantaloupe, coconut, grapefruit, kiwi, melons, oranges, pineapple, watermelon, avocados, olives, sweet potatoes, pancakes, pasta, rice, soy products, dairy, nuts, beef and pork and seafood, heavy oils, sugar, and salt. Now, obviously, I think avoiding salt is good for across the board, but a Vata person can tolerate it better. So that's our start. That's our continuation from yesterday. Thank you for coming back. I'll see you again very soon.